Welcome to session 5, which is on project planning. What are the learning outcomes? You will learn how to produce a work breakdown structure. I've talked about the WBS several times, but we've really not explained what it is. You will learn how to construct a project activity network diagram, analyze a project's critical path, and discuss the use of project management applications. The Project Management Institute's project time management processes, we'll talk about that. Project planning processes, provide a statement of work, create a WBS, develop a project schedule, activity network diagrams, so activity on a node, activity on an arrow, Gantt charts, etc. So these are things you will have to learn to do because they are important aspects of any project planning. So activity definition, activity sequencing, for any project time management processes, you need to do an activity definition, activity sequencing, activity resource estimation, activity duration estimation, schedule development, and schedule control. So when you do a project planning process, it requires you to develop a statement of work. That is what you're going to do. Identify the project tasks. What tasks must be done? And then you create a work breakdown structure. That is, these tasks, you break them down into other activities. Identify the milestones. Make an estimate of the effort required for each task. And also the resources required for each task. And then create a project schedule. How do you identify the project tasks? You need to produce an initial task list by using one or more of the following. So the project life cycle, functional specializations, that's organizational roles, knowledge areas, the project objectives, project deliverables, and then also information from past projects. So that would help you to make a list of the tasks that may be required to do. Remember that when you make this list, it's not cast in stone. You can always go back and revise it. So a work breakdown structure is a breakdown of the project task in a hierarchical tree structure. Typically, you would use a 6-level WBS, and to have the total program, the project, task, subtask, work package, and then effort. This is what will be included in your WBS. Each work package will be described with the following information. What work needs to be done? So for each work package, you need to identify what work needs to be done. Who is responsible for carrying out the work? What deliverables and milestones will result from carrying out this work? How does this depend on other tasks? How much effort do you need in order to complete that task? In other words, you need to indicate the start and the completion days. How the work is going to be carried out, that's the methods that will be used. What tools would you need? Would you require any special skills? This diagram, a tree structure of a WBS. So the project task. So it will include requirement specification, system design, coding, testing, and delivery to operations. And you can see each of these is coded. So requirement specification will include requirement capture, which then has a subcode, requirement analysis. Testing requires unit and integration testing, function and system testing, and acceptance testing. Requirements capture requires interviews, observations, and then documentation. So, a detailed look at the WBS. So, the root node or the project box, that's the main thing, the project task. The others are what? Simply what? Nodes or tasks that need to be done. or subtasks. And of course, the terminal nodes or the leaves to which no further decomposition can be done. Now, once you've done this and coded it, you can have a numeric format for the WBS. So notice I said that each of those tasks had a code with it. So the requirement specification had a code of 1000 or 1000. So that was a requirement specification. And they had a subcode of 1100, which was a requirements capture. And requirements capture had a subcode of 110, 1120, and 1130. There was also a further subcode of 1200, which was requirement analysis. Systems design had a code of 2000, coding 3000, testing 4000, and testing has some subcodes. So this WBS could actually be written also in a numeric format, as opposed to the pictorial or diagrammatic format that we saw. What are milestones? As opposed to tasks, milestones are events. Yeah, they are events. They occur on the completion of a task that produces a deliverable, which would significantly contribute to the project's success. And then normally, project fundings are normally linked to milestones, that's delivering those milestones. Now, you can use a bottom-up approach to estimating the effort required for all tasks. That is, you add up together the effort from the bottom that is required. This effort can be measured typically in person days or person hours, which measures the time you need to complete a task, not the time that has elapsed. An example of an effort estimation table. So you have a project called ABC, and then for each of them, you have what? Tasks that are associated with it. So you identify all the tasks that are associated with this project. And then you make an estimation of the effort required for each task. So delivery to operations requires 1 day. Testing is been broken down to 3 tasks, and each task is been given the effort being estimated for each task. You can then add up those efforts for the subtask to get the duration for that task. So for each subtask, you estimate the effort, and then you total all of this for the project as a whole to obtain the total accumulated effort for the project. Now, for each project, you need to identify the resources that are required for each task. The resources could include people, equipment, facilities, services, and materials. So, for example, software, hardware, office space, and staff. They are all what? Resources that you need. Now, you have to create a project schedule. This schedule would establish the task dependencies. And then you identify the critical path for this schedule. Examine the task scheduling, allocate the resources, set project time data, establish the project completion date, establish the cost schedule, get customer approval, and project team members' agreement to the schedule. Now, an activity network diagram is something that you have to learn to use. It shows the sequencing relationship among tasks. And there are 2 types of them: activity on node and then activity on arrow. I'll show you an example of each of these. So an activity on node will look something like that. So it's a rectangle with corners A, B, C, and D, and a task name. So this diagram here shows you is an activity on node diagram, for example. Those are the nodes that you use. A, what is in A would indicate the earliest start date. What is in B indicates the duration. C indicates the latest start date and D will be any slack in time, if any slack in time. So as an example, if you want to do a literature search, the earliest start day is date 1. The duration is 40 days. The latest start date, we've not indicated it yet, and the slack time also is not being indicated. This needs to be calculated. So you go from literature search to what? A literature review. So once you've done the literature search, you move to literature review. Now, of course, you can see that the earliest start date for that will be the 1 plus the 40 to give you 41. And if you estimate that this will take 20 days to do, so then you are building the diagram. But you need to calculate C and D. You may have multiple dependencies. So in this example here, you see a system design, interface design, and coding. So here coding, you can see that depends on both system design and interface design. You really cannot start the coding without the system design and the interface design already in place. You can show milestones on your activity or note diagram, and that is indicated in the diagram here. So you have milestone 1, milestone 2, so on doing your user acceptance testing, then you achieve a first milestone. When you produce your user training manual, that is another milestone. Then when you do your user training, you achieve a milestone. And then when you do a field testing, that then gives you achieve another milestone. The diagram here shows you how you can calculate your latest start dates, as I told you previously, that this needs to be calculated. And then also you see here how you can calculate the slack time. Basically, it's from the latest start date and then the earliest start date. If you do a subtraction, that will give you the slack time or the slack. Then we have the other diagram which I mentioned, activity on arrow. Now this is a circle with a node ID, the earliest time or the optimistic or shortest time, and the longest time that is indicated. So a simple activity on arrow diagram will look something like as is shown. The Association of Project Managers defines resource smoothing as a scheduling of activities within the limits of their float, so that fluctuations in individual resource requirements can be minimized, subject to the fact that the project completion date, you cannot delay it. Also, resource leveling, what is it? Is a scheduling of activities so that predetermined resource levels are never exceeded. This may, of course, cause the minimum of overall specified project duration to be exceeded. You may need to map project schedule onto time. This requires that you set project start dates, set project weekly hours for resources, establish project completion dates, if necessary, adjust project completion dates, establish the cost schedule, get the customer approval, get project team members' agreement to the project schedule. Gantt charts. I would expect that for each of your student projects, you produce a Gantt chart. It's an excellent way for you to present your project plans. Plot the activities or tasks against calendar days. It can also help you show parallel activities and can show resource allocation, can also show project progress. An example of a Gantt chart is shown in this diagram. So you can see the various tasks, then the duration in days, and then the sort of calendar as to when it will be completed and what follows. It's an important lesson to learn and include in your project proposal. So these tools you can use. So you can use a Gantt chart as a planning tool, an activity network diagram, and a cost estimation diagram. All of these can be useful, they are useful planning tools. For each of these tools, what information it provides you is stated. In this table here, we sort of compare advantages of the activity on note diagram and activity on arrow diagrams. We compare the two so you can see what the advantages, one, what is used for, and two, what the advantages are. So what have we achieved here? We've talked about project planning process, how to identify tasks, how to create a WBS, and then how to do the scheduling using an activity on node and activity on arrow diagram. And then we've also talked about Gantt charts and their importance. Thank you.